So, this weekend has been a really, really extremely shocking discovery. It is beyond anything that I ever wanted to see. I met someone through a friend. He works in crisis management, and he offered to help me with some of my crisis. Sunday night, he comes over, and we hung out and whatever, and we talked about all the issues. And every single thing that he tried to help me with, every possible scenario, I had either already exhausted, okay, and then he couldn't even find a record of it. It's like all of my attempts to deal with it didn't exist. And then he's on call. He works. He has his computer, his stuff. I'm working on my work. We're just hanging out. And he was trying to figure out to see if there was any way that he could help me, because I gave him the rundown on my fears. I was going to end up homeless. I've exhausted everything I said. I was like, there's no hope. You know, he was very confident that he was going to be able to provide me with resources to things that could help me with my eviction, with the criminal issues, and things like that. This is very hard to believe. What I'm about to tell you is basically proving the narrative that I had in the back of my mind with regards to the corruption, but you do hope that there is some benefit to the doubt there, where, you know, even though there's really no explanation as to why Saddy hasn't been arrested, or why I'm still facing eviction, or I haven't been able to sue my employer, and there's all these things that have gone wrong in my life, and this has been ongoing for 4 years now. And he's able to scan my driver's license or my health card and things like that to determine what he can do to help me, or what I have already done in my scenario, and how he can help me either add on to those problems, or look for different things that he might have access to, that he might in his mind, what he's experienced. So he asked me for my driver's license to scan it. And it didn't scan. And he told me, and I don't have these scanners, so I didn't know what to expect, but he looked like he was very scared. He looked very scared. And he said to me, he's like, your driver's license isn't scanning. And this has never happened before. And then he started looking more deeper. Started going into the database. He was looking at my police records, my health records, and it's all empty. He showed me my database. And he tried to get into my police reports and my criminal investigations and my health records, and it said access denied, and he's never seen that before. And here we have someone who's working in crisis management who is now experiencing a crisis, trying to deal with my crisis. Do you understand where I'm going with this now? Look at this. Like I look terrified on my face right now. I do. I've actually never been this terrified in my entire life. I thought I was terrified, when I got held at the airport and wasn't allowed to leave the country voluntarily. That was terrifying. To be held against my will. And that was the only thing that appeared on my records on all the things that he checked. He saw that my passport was denied at the airport. And it wasn't to do with my COVID, it was my actual passport that was denied. So they lied to me at the airport. It had nothing to do with my negative test. My passport was denied. Okay, so the problem is that you have these possible narratives as to why. You try to ask yourself why this happened. And you can sit there and think to the end of your days to try and find out why. But you're never gonna figure it out until you ask. And I have spent, okay, more time than I can possibly. I would never in my life wish that anyone would have to put this much effort into getting an answer as to why these things are happening to me, okay? Every single legislator, public health professional that is trained to answer these questions has ignored me and treated me like I don't exist. And then when I look at my file on the database that they have at work, I don't exist. There was nothing. Every single police report that I filed against Jan Saddy for running me over with my car, for killing my dog, for doing all these things, they didn't, the police officers didn't even file a report. They didn't even create a file. And, you feel like you don't exist, but then you see it you see it, the database there in front of you. Nothing. And the most terrifying part of this is that I have this professional who's trained in crisis management, who has spent many, many years helping people in crisis, who is now literally in my home having a fucking panic attack, scared of me, because he's never seen this before. And he thought, oh my God, what kind of person could I be if this is happening? This is really hard to talk. This is really hard to talk. I just can't believe this is happening. Oh my God. Okay, so it gets worse. Oh God. Oh my God. Okay. So, it's just like, so, it's all speculation until you see it. Even though I didn't get a response from any professional until him, it was still speculation in my head that I was like, okay, well, maybe there's a better reason that I can't think of that this is happening that I don't know. And I couldn't really explain it. Matt, was really determined to get to the bottom of this because he really did respect me and thought I was a good person. He watched the video of my landlord. I showed him the videos of me complaining to the police. They are required to create an occurrence for every single one of those by law. And so when he goes to look at those police reports and they don't exist, he was terrified. He was terrified. I saw just this complete look of terror in his face. And, oh God, that was like, more, that was more than I wanted. It's more than I wanted. And it was his reaction that made it just even more scary for me, because I'm like, what the fuck, right? Oh, shit. This is really fucked up, man. Oh, my God. No one can help me. Anyway, it gets better and worse. Oh my God, this is really scary. My head hurts so much. Sunday night, he comes over. And we hung out and whatever, and we talked about all the issues. And every single thing that he tried to help me with, every possible scenario, I had either already exhausted, okay, and then he couldn't even find a record of it. It's like all of my attempts to deal with it didn't exist. And then he was very unsteady. It was almost like he was scared to be in my home, because he couldn't, this is the first time this has ever happened to him. I showed him my records of all of it happening. I showed him my Google Drive, the videos, the police reports that I submitted, and he knew where to find what the answers were on that. And they didn't exist. You know, I'm not the first person in Canada to have been treated like this. He was very unsteady. It was almost like he was scared to be in my home, because he couldn't, this is the first time this has ever happened to him. I showed him my records of all of it happening. I showed him my Google Drive, the videos, the police reports that I submitted, and he knew where to find what the answers were on that. And they didn't exist. You know, I'm not the first person in Canada to have been treated like this. So this has been really hard to process. I don't even know where I'm at. I keep having to look at the text messages to make sure I'm getting everything right, because this has been really traumatizing. Oh, God. I just need to get this off my chest. Like, looking at myself, this scare is scaring me more. It's really scary, people. You don't want this to happen to you. I used to be so strong and so fearless. I don't even know what that feels like. Oh my God. He's like, I'm gonna figure this out. He's like, I don't like the fact that I don't have access. And he has contacts with the police. He has contacts with the police and all these different police forces. And he's very well known in all these police forces. And he said that he's gonna contact his friend, who's a police officer, and go and talk to him. And he asked me to write down all of the occurrence numbers and dates and numbers and things like that. And I showed him the videos, and it was really upsetting him that that he couldn't get the information on the system that he should have access to. He said it's never happened before. He's been doing this for a long time, and it's never happened. So he drove really quickly. He called the officer. He met up with him, and then he told me he was going to come back that night, and he'll have paperwork for me, and he'll fix it. He said he's going to fix it. He says this is not supposed to happen. He saw the woman run me over with a car. He saw all the other hate crimes, and he's like, this woman should be in jail or charged. Like, I should be able to file charges. And he could not understand why there were no reports after he saw me literally talking to the police about the report. I'm sorry, he leaves at 3. 5 o'clock, he messages me, hey. I really, right that minute, I responded, hey, back, and he never got it. My messages stopped going to him. And then he was thrown into all this work. Crisis was thrown at him. Messages me back saying like he has got car problems now. He's got a fucking knife, an injury. And he was terrified. Terrified. He was terrified. It was like all the worst things that you hear about was right in front of him. All the things that the government denies that never happens, it doesn't exist. Like, he went to school saying that none of this happens. They don't do this stuff. It's all conspiracy. And here it is in front of him. And he didn't know what to do. He's scared to lose his job. Everything that he worked very hard for. Same thing that has happened to me. I lost everything. I've lost everything. I lost everything. And he's looking at his life thinking, if I try and help this person, I'm going to lose everything too. And, oh boy. I when he left that day to go to the police, I actually had this, like, I actually felt hopeful for the first time in 4 years. It was so fucking hard, because this is how I'm gonna explain it. This is how I've managed to process this experience. Accepting that it's broken. The system is not going to help me. And I've accepted that I'm gonna have to apply to die. I've applied to be euthanized like 3 times. It's just like, he comes along and he's like, I'm gonna fix it. And I believed him for this split second. And for like a couple of hours, I thought I was gonna be okay. So Tuesday morning, he gets discharged from the hospital. He's really distant, barely talking, scared, I think, to talk to me. And all my messages are not going to him. They're being intercepted. And he's getting, like, when I call his phone, it says that his phone is experiencing temporary difficulties. But his phone works, and I'm being obstructed from crisis management during a fucking crisis. And I was just like, this is a lot, right? It's like, this is the proof that I've been asking for. And he was not having it at first. At first, he's like, this is not real. I'm not accepting this. And between him going to the police officer, being stabbed, fucking ending up in the hospital, he's like completely just like, he can't help me no more. He's like just fucking, he's fucking terrified. And me asking for help did that. What the fuck? Oh my god. So he's scared. He's scared. And this is Canada, people. This is Canada. This is what everybody thinks this is a great place. This is just as evil. They just do it different. Same people. So I started having a meltdown. And I started texting him, and I didn't even know yet that my messages were being blocked. All these text messages that I was sending him were being intercepted by the police. Blocked. Deleted from it. Didn't even go to his phone. They went straight to the government. And the public safety is making him feel unsafe. I can barely talk right now. This is really fucked up. He got discharged in the morning on Tuesday. And he drove to my place. And he tried to reassure me that everything was going to be okay. But up to this point, I was like, he was scared to do any more work on it. And I'm like, it's not going anywhere. I'm just going to get buried. Like, I don't even exist while I'm fucking alive right now, and I don't even exist. And he still didn't figure out why. The officer that he talked to said to him that they were going to look into the oversight. The London police called the lack of reports an oversight. Oh yeah, an oversight? I literally yelled at them 10 times to do the report. There are 10 videos of me yelling at the police to arrest this woman. It's not an oversight. An oversight is like something you miss. It's like your eyes didn't catch it. You can't call intentional negligence an oversight. I felt really guilty involving him because of what happened. I know what happened to me. There's a lot of trauma. God damn it. And so I was like on this path of destruction for a couple of hours. I thought I was gonna be okay, and then I had to just like go in full speed and just boom, boom, right back. Just like that. And my head hurts so much. It just hurts so much. You have no idea. And I still don't have a doctor. I still don't have a fucking anything. I don't have anything. No lawyer, no job, no. I'm gonna be fucking homeless. I can't do this anymore. I just don't believe it. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. It's right in front of me and I see it and I still don't believe it. It's so hard to believe. It's so hard to believe. Oh God, no. Oh my God. And then he said that he was gonna go get some errands done. And I asked if I could go with him. And he said, yeah. And then he just made up some excuses. Tried to gently push me away and isolate me. But he has completely ignored me since. He's scared. He's terrified. And he doesn't want me to feel that, but I see it. And this has all happened because I asked for fucking help. That's all I did. I just asked for help. And this is what's happening. He works for public health, public safety. He's a crisis manager. And this is it. This is how crisis management in Canada deals with crises. By actively killing people and making their lives harder. And terrorizing the crisis managers. I thought I could make a difference. 4 years ago, I thought I could make a difference. And the only difference I've made is my own destruction. I've destroyed myself by thinking that I could make a difference. Destroyed everything. Destroyed all my friends. Destroyed everything. I have no help. No family, no friends, no one. Everybody's scared. I haven't put on an RCMP watch list. Treated like a I've been treated like an extreme terrorist. They have labeled me a fucking terrorist. They have intimidated my friends. Somebody that I know, they came to me in person to tell me, they made me promise them I wouldn't bring their name. They were fucking terrified. Somebody came to them and told them that I was a threat to fucking national safety, and that if they were to continue associating with me, they would be considered an accomplice for a national threat. The government or some lawyer or some firm or someone went around to the people that I know and told them that I was a fucking national threat, and that by talking to me, they would be an accomplice. They literally threatened people to get away from me before Christmas. I spent my entire Christmas trying to kill myself because I was so alone.
I do want to be your friend, but not in this conversation. They're always like this.
But, Matt, what am I supposed to do?
If you were my friend, you would respect me. You would respect me. You would not purposely throw me in a fucking ditch that you are doing.
No, I'm not. I try to...
Yeah, you are. You really are.
Okay, but...
And if you don't see that, you're a smart person. If you don't see that, then I am concerned. Because you know exactly what you're doing.
But how am I supposed to... I mean, Matt, okay, so... here's how I see it, okay? This is my experience.
How you see it.
This is my experience, okay?
You're attacking the pond. You're attacking the little pond and the fish in the pond.
I know,
here.
but...
I have nothing or anything to do at all.
We're the only ones that can ever do anything, but just let me hear this out, okay? Please, let me hear... Please, let me just say this, because it's...
No.
I was in a crisis before... I was in a crisis...
I'm stressed the fuck out.
It's quick.
I'm freaking out.
It's quick. I was in a crisis when you met me. And you, because you're in crisis management, you thought, okay, well, I might have some ideas for you. And listen, you had no idea what you were going to see. All you did was, hi, I have some tools that might be able to help this person. So you tried. And then, wow, you saw something that you've never seen before. All of the evidence that I showed you doesn't match all of the things in the system, and you're like, this is the first time I've ever seen this before. I've never had this. I've never seen all of someone's record look like this. I've never seen a fucking file say access denied. Like, you're in crisis management. There's only a couple of you. You've never seen all these things. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, wow, I must be really special.
I have answers to that, by the way, and that's no, and I do have an answer to that, by the way. The access denied is because the last person to access it was an RCMP. I don't meet that rank.
What do you mean the last?
You just told me they sent you an email.
Does that mean that all of my occurrence numbers, like the 20 occurrence numbers that the police were supposed to file, that don't exist?
An RCMP officer, no, as soon as it's touched by, they can choose to hold, or they can choose to display, or whatever. They can restrict what everybody else can see. Necessarily see it, but they restrict it.
And then when you went to the police, and they're like, oh, and then when you went to the police about someone running with a vehicle, and you're like, the police wouldn't accept it. The cops wouldn't accept it, and you're like, oh, okay. And you wouldn't give me a name of the officers? You wouldn't tell me anything that you talked to, anyone you talked to?
I talked to a friend of mine who did me a favor much as I did for you.
And you won't even give me a name?
Because I don't want him being held responsible for anything.
Right, so you just want to, like, pretend you helped me, but then just allow them to bury me.
No. Hey, this is what I'm talking about by creating a battle that's not necessary.
You're allowing them to bury me.
I can help you, but at the same time, you're not really making me want to.
How the fuck am I gonna help myself when all these people are allowing me to be buried? Like, all of my information is gone. Dude, you literally tried to help me. You went into
literally making that up. It's not being buried.
You went into a crisis trying to help me.
I have zero authority and zero level permission. I can't see everything, nor anything.
You went into a crisis.
You
went into a crisis trying to help someone. Do you realize that?
No, I was a little spun out. And yeah, things made sense. Yeah, I needed a...
Okay. So I mean...
But during that breather, I did my No, don't show people in the face.
You're cutting out.
I'll try to help you, and I will continue to try to help you.
It's taking a really big turn.
VINCENZO Study and Collecting Airport Landlord, Tenant Board, Eastern Regional Office. I'm unavailable to take your call right now, but please remember, and I will get back to you possibly on the day.
Hey there, Vincenzo. I had a really, really scary weekend. I was acquainted with a crisis management for the Ontario government. He's one of only a few, apparently. He's been working, he's a friend of a friend. And we spent the entire weekend, and I told him everything that has been happening to me, and he couldn't believe it. And so he tried to see what he could do to help me, and he looked at my file, and every single police occurrence that I created against my landlord, Saddy, didn't exist, and he couldn't believe me. So I showed him all of my evidence and all of the videos of me recording, telling the police, and he couldn't believe it. So he went down to, he was mad, and he went down to the London police station and talked to a contact of his, and he was told that it was an oversight, okay, and that they weren't going to, he wasn't able to help me after this. Since then, he's now not able to help me with the situation that's going on, and he feels scared about everything that's happening. This has been sort of the situation that's been going on this entire time. So now I have physical, and I have physical evidence of a public health crisis management for the Ontario government who has evidence that the police and Ontario Land and Tenant Board are colluding together to get rid of me, evict me, protect a criminal, protect you guys, protect her, and this is beyond criminal negligence. Okay, I've created a letter. I've written it to the RCMP. I've written a letter to another doctor who's in BC who has been following and trying to help me with the corruption here that I've been experiencing in Ontario. I am recording this voicemail, and it's going public.